In Parshas Beha'aloscha, we find something incredibly unique. We have the first half of the Parsha discussing the menorah and how Aaron's the one that lights up the menorah, the order of the Yidden's encampment and how they were planning on traveling. Then when you're reading that in the Torah, you hit an upside-down nun. And the pasuk, there's two pasukim over there. It says, "Vayihi b'nsayo ha'aren vayemer Moshe." When the Aaron would travel, Moshe would say, "Kuma Hashem, arise Hashem v'yafutu eivecha, and let your enemies scatter, v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha, and let those that hate you run away from you." And when the Aaron would camp and when it would rest again by their next settlement, Moshe would say, "Shuva Hashem, settle Hashem, rivavais alfa Yisrael," and then again you have a upside down nun. You have an upside-down nun before these two psukim. You have an upside-down nun in the Torah after these two psukim, and you find this nowhere else in the Torah. So the Gemara says, what does this mean? And the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos explains, this means to isolate these two psukim and make them their own book of the Torah. We usually think there's 5 books of the Torah. Well, really, there are 7. Bereshis, Shemais, Vayikra, Bamidbar, until Beha'aloscha, these 2 nuns. Then the next book is the one of these 2 nuns. Then you have the one right after these 2 nuns, till Dvarim, and then you have Sefer Dvarim, equaling 7 books of the Torah. The question is, why in Beha'aloscha specifically do we have 3 whole books of the Torah in that one Parsha? Second of all, we always say there's Chamisha Chumshei Torah, there's 5 books of the Torah. So, are there 5 books of the Torah, or 7? And can they both be true? Third of all, if these 2 psukim are their own book, then how does the book right after them begin? How does book number 6 of the Torah begin? Vayehi ha'am kimisayninim raba aznei Hashem. And the Jews started complaining, and Hashem sent a plague. Then they started complaining again. They wanted steak, they wanted meat. Hashem sends a plague. Then you have the Meraglim. That's the beginning of book number 6. It ends seemingly so negative. It starts seemingly so negatively. Why start a sefer of the Torah on that note? Those are the questions, and this is the explanation. Parshas Beha'aloscha es haneres means not just lighting a candle. Aaron's not commanded to light the candle, but Beha'aloscha es haneres means light the candle until the candle itself is shining, until the wick itself caught flame and has become its own source of light. In education, there's 2 ways of educating. There's short-term investment education and long-term education as a long-term investment. Short-term means I'm going to inspire you and I'm going to lift you up, or I'm going to hold you in place. What's the problem with that type of education? The moment I let go of you, you fall back to who you were. Long-term, authentic, real education means I'm going to light you up. I'm going to light you up and be there so present with you and try to integrate my to you so much that it catches fire and you yourself become your own source of This is the type of lighting that our Parsha is talking about. I read a great line recently that says, education is what's left after the information you've learned has been forgotten. There's the class I heard from you, and then there is, even once I stopped hearing that class, what's left in me, what you've changed and shifted in me, that's what real education is. So this is what Beha'aloscha is about. Beha'aloscha is about the first 4 books of the Torah, Bereshis, Shemais, Vayikra, Bamidbar, is about building the Jewish nation, building Am Yisrael, and Hashem showing himself at Har Sinai, showing us miracles, lighting up our neshamas so that we could become a source of light to light up the world. But how do we know if Hashem's light stuck with us as short-term education or as long-term education? Parshas Beha'aloscha, we're about to leave Har Sinai. The school year is about to be over. And how do I know that Hashem's influence is really going to last with the people? In a way of Beha'aloscha, that we have become our own sources of luminescence, and we aren't completely reliant on the overpowering inspiration from another source. And for that we have book number 6 of the Torah, a very powerful, inspiring book that says, Yidden did not become perfect. They complained because they were tired. They complained because they wanted meat. But even then they were still Yidden. In other words, if we can educate by not shutting down the imperfect side of the person, or by shutting down questions, by shutting down challenges, but by trying to find a way to take our light and our influence and affect even that bottom half of the person that is seemingly uninspired, that is seemingly always questioning, that is always frustrated, and that is lazy. When the person falls back to that side of him, does your hold over there too or not? If yes, you know you affected this person long term. And that's book number 6, eventually leading to book number 7 of the Torah, which is how this experience of Yiddishkeit and Hashem and the Yidden culminating in Matan Torah, was able to leave Har Sinai, become human, become imperfect, and it was still lasting. That's how we know that it was real and authentic. I was one time at a funeral of a very rich man, and another rich man was giving a hesped and sharing how one time he went to this man to get a loan. He got a big loan, and his investment went sour. He lost the money. But he had another big idea, and he went back to him. He needed another big loan. And he went back to him with a lot of chutzpah. And the first rich man threw him out of the house. Get lost. I already gave you the money you needed. And then afterwards, he chased him out of the house and cursed him out and threw at him a massive check. So I was always wondering, why, like at the Levaya, you usually like saying nice stories of the people. Why is this man sharing this story of how this guy got frustrated at him, cursed him out, and threw him a check? Then a friend of mine told me, and I think this is very powerful, what's more inspiring? To hear that this is a angel that always, oh, you need money, I'll give it to you. Oh, you need money again, I'll give it to you. Or we're dealing with a human being. He didn't want to give. He was frustrated. But still, the of tzedakah was, even when he was frustrated, even when he didn't want to give it, he couldn't resist. And tzedakah was that real by him. When we see that, even when I fall back to that side of me, it's real, then I know it's real, and I have become my own source of luminescence. Have a great Shabbos.